If we need to wristband it, we will. Basically saying if they need to give Russell Wilson a wristband to call plays as opposed to calling them through the headset, they will make that change. James, is Sean Payton fed up with Russell Wilson?
You know, man, I'm starting to feel bad for Russ. I mean, everything's starting to, like, fall on Russ' shoulders. I understand you are the quarterback. But I ain't seen a head coach do this to, like, a superstar quarterback. And I understand Russell Wilson, the way he played last year, but he's earned the right to be called a superstar quarterback in this league. But these other quarterbacks that play bad, they coaches ain't coming out saying comments like this. You know, Sean Payton, this is the third, fourth time he's come out and really said comments like this to really hint that kind of Russ is not my guy. If this thing goes south, Russ is not my guy. Like, Russ was here when I got here. And that's what I'm taking out of all these comments. Like, you stood up there and you say, yeah, I got to do better and all that, but then you say, you know, Russ got to get the play in faster, or we might need a wristband. That's letting the world know that, hey, it might be a little bit too complicated for Russ, right? It's moving a little too fast for us. This is not Drew Brees. Drew Brees was in this offense for 15 years, right? So it was easy for Drew Brees. This is Russell Wilson's first year, right? So you standing up there saying that stuff, kind of putting all the blame on, he just scored 33. Right? And I know you lost both games, but for me as a head coach, you can't keep doing that to Russ, man.
I'm with you. I think Payton's fed up. I think he's really just looking for reasons now. He's getting real nitpicky with Russell Wilson.
Very.
Y'all remember in February, it was Russell Wilson had his own personal performance team.
Yep.
Then later in February, he took issue with the parking spots. Then he took issue with his own private office. Then he told him in September to stop kissing babies. Then he commented on the 0-2 start. And now yesterday, 2 days ago, count him up, six, he says that he needs a wristband. Like, I feel as though Sean Payton is keeping a tally of Russell Wilson's errors so that when there is a breakup, he can go back to the rest of the world and be like, look, this ain't new. I've always had issue, and Russ has always done things differently. So I do feel like Payton's fed up with Russ, Joy.
Hell yeah. It's very obvious. You just made a whole list of things. And to James's point, you don't really hear this with the quarterback head coach dynamic. The last time I really can think of something like this happening was Tua and Brian Flores. And if you remember, while some people like to make that situation very cut and dry, it was not a very cut and dry situation. There was a lot going on with the ownership, what they wanted to see. They were talking to Deshaun Watson. There was even talks about Tom Brady. It wasn't as simple as Brian Flores did not like Tua and they didn't get along. I keep saying this, and everyone keeps acting like this is not a big deal, but they got new ownership. Russell Wilson is not only not Sean Payton's guy, he is also not this ownership's guy. So if they are writing very big checks to someone who is not looking very big check worthy, that can be adding extra pressure to the situation. Now, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just a conspiracy theory. Usually I'm right. This is a real dynamic. Billionaires like to look at something that they paid billions of dollars for, looking like it's worth billions of dollars. And as much as we want to be rosy-colored glasses with Russ, and while I do think that last loss was a team loss, you started with two very winnable games. Is anyone picking them to beat the Dolphins this weekend?
Nope.
So let's assume the Dolphins continue looking the way that they look and they start 0-3, right? Sean Payton was never going to fall on the sword for Russell Wilson. That was never going to happen. The only option that Russ had coming into this season was to look like the Russell Wilson of old. There was not going to be any excuses. You had an entire season of bad play. And if we're going to keep it a buck, which we got to do, Shady, so we get paid to do.
I know.
Second half was unacceptable. He looked in moments like Russ. But that second half performance was unacceptable. I don't care how many points you put up. You got to beat that team. You got to beat that team. You can't blame it on the defense when you're making $260 million.
I disagree with you, Joy. I truly do. I mean, if you put up 33 points, right, and you telling me you have a top 5 to top 10 defense, why can't you stop? Why you can't stop the team from getting 35 points? I get what you're saying. The second half, he looked great, right? But he left halftime 21-3. Going to the second half, they put up 35 points. That means that the other team was scoring and scoring and scoring and scoring. So for y'all to have this great defense that we all talk about, right? Do we all talk about it? Unless you want to blame Russ for this, we can't. Last year, I get it. He played terrible, right? He played real bad. I can't say the same this year. He threw for 300 yards, right? He had, 2-3 touchdowns?
3 touchdowns.
Come on.
But do you think Sean Payton You think Sean Payton, you're not done with him? Or you think Sean Payton?
I don't. I mean, even like, watching the comments he said, I don't think he's over him yet. I don't see that. I mean, from things he said is, hey, we got to be better. Russ has to get the plays in better. That's probably accurate. I will say so. A lot of times that game, I seen the clock, the play clock running down a lot. Another thing is this. I mean, Russ right now today, he's third in touchdown passes. Mm-hmm. He's 10th in yards per game, right? And he has 109 passing rating. He's not playing as bad as we act like he is. Where other teams, the quarterbacks is playing bad.
Just not getting the W.
So all I'm saying is this. As much as we want to look at the old Russ, that's not coming back. He's not coming back. But this Russ right here, the small sample size we have in the last 2 games, you can win with that. That's all I'm saying.
But that's a really good point, and that's how you know we fed up. Because Russ's numbers is not bad.
Terrible, yeah.
Like, when we looking at Joe Burrow, we looking at these other quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson, when we're looking at Russ is not playing bad, and the coach is still coming out saying stuff like this. And yes, I know you just took a tough loss, but it ain't all on Russ.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And as a coach, like I said, I coach Little League football. Point your finger at me 24/7, right? We lose. Blame it on me. So as a coach, every time you get up there is something that Russ ain't doing. That's letting you know, man, it's fed up, and Russ really ain't my guy.
Well, Sean did say that he has to be better also. Mm-hmm. And then, like, I feel like you guys took a shot at him saying he has to wear the sleeve.
No, there's nothing wrong.
A lot of Tom Brady wore a sleeve.
Ain't nothing wrong.
Hey, we got flex right. He does that, right? Drew Brees for a little bit was wearing it. Mahomes wears it. So as much as we are acting like it's a bad thing, what's wrong with that?
It's not a bad thing, but he came off like Russ don't know what he doing, and we're going to have to put it on here. Because obviously I'm calling.
I didn't take it like that. I didn't take it like that.
Because why he ain't got one on in the first place? Because Aaron had a wristband. I don't know why he ain't got one in the first place. So do you think that you going to call the play in his ear and he going to get it because that's how y'all been doing that practice, and now he getting them out slow?
I just feel like the quarterbacks I've been around, coach tells, hey, play 35.
No question.
Okay, and it's whatever that is. So a lot of quarterbacks do that. So I don't think it's like particularly a bad thing that he wants them to do. Yeah.
Fair. Well, let's go from an 0-2 team to a 2-0 team. The Dallas Cowboys. Everything is going the Cowboys' way right now. They've outscored their opponents 70-10 through the first 2 weeks. Dak Prescott hasn't thrown an interception in the first 2 games. They are absolutely dominating. When I look at this Dallas Cowboys team, I got to be honest, James Jones, I got to be honest, I don't see very much stopping them at this junction in time from a Super Bowl. At this junction in time, when I look at the landscape of the NFL. I think the Niners are playing as good as the Cowboys in the NFC, and that's about it. And I would say the Cowboys are probably playing a hair better than the Niners right now. In the AFC, I think the Dolphins are the only team playing as good as the Cowboys are right now. And when you think about matchup, styles make fights, the Dolphins are dynamic. The Cowboys are physical. I do believe if the Dolphins were to see the Cowboys today, that is today, not in 3 months, but today, I believe the Cowboys would win based upon Jalen Ramsey's absence, etc. So I think there is not much of anything, if anything at all, currently holding the Cowboys back from a Super Bowl now that they have all their pieces and their ducks in a row.
You're absolutely right. And this is week 2, and I'm telling you, Cowboys fans should be smiling because this team is on the verge of winning the Super Bowl. The only thing that's holding them back is injuries. If some crazy type injuries happen, that's the only thing holding the Dallas Cowboys back from winning the Super Bowl. We seen the defense, right? They gave up 10 points in 2 games. Then you look at Dak Prescott, not turning the football over, 50% on 3rd down. You talking about not turning the football over and 50% on 3rd down, and you playing really good defense, taking the football away? I don't care who lines up against the Dallas Cowboys. You're not going to beat them when they playing like that. The Dallas Cowboys to the Super Bowl, Shady, I signed it after this. They are like that.
I agree. They like, hold on. Sorry, America.
Super Bowl, because he says a lot of wild stuff.
I said Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, James Jones.
He has to sign it.
Yep, sign. What's today's date?
Today's date is...
We did our Super Bowl.
I believe it's 9/19.
9/18.
9/19.
Didn't we do our Super Bowl picks already?
This guy, he just won't stop. He just won't stop just saying wild stuff. Sign that. Sign that.
He has to sign.
The Cowboys go to the Super Bowl.
Didn't we do our Super Bowl?
You got to sign that.
We need a pen, man.
I did say, with exception of injury.
You have to sign that.
Yeah, put that. Make sure that's...
America, he keeps doing this.
It's small print, too.
Make sure you sign that.
Get it going. You know what I'm saying?
I'm putting all your stuff. I got a little foul. It's a foul. It says, "Wow, James prediction."
That's gonna be worth a lot of money right there, brother. Cowboys to the Super Bowl, man.
Joy, what is holding the Cowboys back? Is there anything holding the Cowboys back?
The 49ers, the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Bengals, Jerry, play calling at the end of the game, Dak. And that's, to be clear, holding them back from getting to an NFC championship game. Because I continue to remind everyone, I think they still have it set up that way.
Is it 29 years? 30 years?
28 years. That you have to get to an NFC championship game and then win that before you get to the Super Bowl. Now, I get it. Every year is different, but it has been Groundhog Day for 28 straight years, and there are reasons for that. They had a Super Bowl level team last year. They had an amazing defense last year. So amazing, in fact, in the divisional round against a 7th round, last pick in the draft, rookie quarterback. That defense held them to 20 points. All they had to do was score 21 points, Shady, and they would have been in the NFC Championship game last year. That Niners team was averaging 27.3 points going into that game. What more can you ask for from the defense? And what happened?
He showed up.
So, listen, I love it. They're a playoff team. The defense is shaping up to look like a generational defense. One of those defenses that we will talk about years to come. They have an arrived star that is stepping into mega star status in Micah Parsons, who is one of my favorite players to watch in the league. I have to see them do it first. I just have to. I've seen the Cowboys have extreme talent. I've seen them look dominant. There's lots of things in the way of them winning a Super Bowl.
I mean, even that was a great take.
Thank you.
That was a great take. You could even add it the points that the Cowboys or the Niners did get was because of the turnovers from that. But anyway,
I don't want to get too tight.
So the question was,
anything stopping the Cowboys?
I want to say no because they do look really, really good.
Yeah, you should say no.
But I started thinking about it and watching more tape, and I only see one side of the team playing like that. That's the defense. And what happens when the Niners put points up, because you know they're third in points per game. Them boys in Philadelphia flying high, because they're number 5th in points per game. What happens when they put points up? And we need number 4 to win the game. You know what that looks like. And I will say this, and it was the Jets, but when he threw that pass, that slow with no velocity pass to the right sideline, to CeeDee Lamb, and it was Sauce Gardner waiting for that. It was like slow motion. I said, oh, my God, it's about to happen again. Oh, my God, it's only week 2. It's about to happen. And Sauce dropped it because we all know that was going to be a pick.
It was going the other way.
A pick 6.
Going the other way.
And then everything would happen again, and then everything was just, you know how the snowball effect. So I'll say it like this. They do look very, very good, and they look unstoppable on defense. But that offense and that Jets game, they got in the red zone 6 or 7 times. They only came up with 2 touchdowns, and everything else was field goals. And I'll just say it again. The Eagles and the Niners are a top 5 points per game team.
Sure.
What happens when they put points up? That's all I'm saying.
Let me ask you this, though. If the Cowboys were close last year to the NFC Championship game, right? We all saw they were very close to the NFC Championship game. I think the defense has gotten better, but the defense has made up that margin.
True.
Say Dak Prescott gets no better. I believe Dak Prescott under Mike McCarthy will get better, but let's assume he doesn't. Let's assume Dak Prescott stays the exact same. I think the margin between the Cowboys last year not making the NFC Championship game, I think the defense has closed that margin. If indeed the Cowboys are going to be a generational defense, a 2002 Bucks, a 2000 Ravens, a 2002 Ravens, a 2013-14 Seahawks, a 2015 Broncos, then your offense can be what the Cowboys offense was, because when you think about those teams and those generational defenses, those defenses are generational because they win games, like the Broncos versus the Carolina Panthers in the Super Bowl. Von Miller, sacks, recovered the fumble. They didn't win that game because of Peyton Manning. They won that game in spite of Peyton Manning. So I think the Cowboys defense, even if Dak Prescott gets no better, I think he will, but even if he doesn't, I think the Cowboys defense makes up the delta.
We've yet to see that in the modern NFL.
What's that?
I was about to say that.
We've yet to see that in the modern NFL. All those defenses that you listed was a different generation of football.
Broncos?
Different. 2015 is 2023. Patrick Mahomes needed 13 seconds to beat the Bills, who was a top 3, #1 defense. Maybe not this defense in Dallas, but he needed 1313 seconds to beat the Bills.
What are you classifying as a modern NFL? Like
I'm talking about
2020 and
Patrick
beyond?
Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. I don't even put Herbert in these conversations, but I'm talking about the type of quarterbacks that can need
Cam
13
Newton was an MVP.
seconds.
He was an MVP in 2015.
You know that Cam Newton is not Patrick Mahomes.
I'm just saying he was an MVP. He was an MVP in 2015.
And Cam Newton was incredible, but Cam Newton is not running the same type of offense that Patrick Mahomes is running.
That's true.
So we have yet to see in this era of quarterbacks a defense be dominant enough to neutralize a Patrick Mahomes.
And let me just...
I just can't agree. The Denver Broncos have the #1 offense in the history of the NFL in 2013.
Hold on.
Peyton Manning had 55 touchdowns.
Right.
Seattle Seahawks went out there and won that game off of a kick return by Percy Harvin. They didn't even need a score.
So if we just look at the last 4 to 5 Super Bowl winners,
sure,
right? Is it any of that you're talking about? Is any of this Seahawks defense?
No, but we haven't seen a defense like that.
So what I'm saying is, I think, right, that them day and age is gone. You know what I mean? The quarterback's making too much money now. It's not the same. You can't just stack a defense up and, hey, be conservative on offense, go out there and defense and win a game. That's what it used to be like. Now, if we look at it, last year's winner was who? Mahomes. Mm-hmm. You know what type of offense they got. The defense won that good last year. Chris Jones and some good guys. Offense. Who's next?
Matthew Stafford.
Stafford. We know what he's all about, right? And then you go to who was it? The
Tom
Bucs.
Brady.
It's good quarterback play and a good offense. That's a new way to win games nowadays.
Because of defense.
But won that Super Bowl because of defense.
I mean, it was on Patrick Mahomes because of defense. Aaron Donald closed the game out because of defense.
Hold on. You just said
I was saying y'all won that Super Bowl because of your defense.
I can't say that.
Patrick Mahomes put up, what was it, 9 points? He put up 9 points.
What you mean? So what? So what? The fact that
you're talking about first of all being in the Super Bowl which
the way to get there, right?
Cowboys have to win 2 more games to get there in this conversation. And also, while we want to give the defense credit, which in big moments they absolutely did show up, they absolutely did. Aaron Donald made big plays, Von Miller made big plays, Bucs defense made big plays. Tom Brady was the quarterback of that team. Patrick Mahomes was the quarterback of that team. Matthew Stafford with Cooper Kupp and Sean McVay right now.
Who won the game that game?
The quarterbacks of those teams.
Yeah.
Like, they ain't that
Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp won that game.
Sure, but let's remind the world.
Remind them. Close the game out.
Let's remind the world who was Matthew Stafford before that game. He was 0. He had never won a playoff game in his career.
Okay.
He was a losing quarterback in his career. Incredibly talented. #1 overall pick out of Highland Park High School, went to Georgia, went to the NFL.
That's
but
good.
Matthew Stafford, we did not think of as Matthew Stafford until he won that game.
I don't know. I don't know about that, man.
But hold on real quick.
The stats he had, that year, did he not play well?
41 touchdowns, 17 interceptions.
I'll take that. I'll take
the league in picks.
I'll take that. And I mean, he had the 3-crown wide receiver. You play wide receiver. How hard is that to get?
Crown.
You let the league in touchdowns, right?
No question. That is extremely hard.
Hard as hell to get. And he don't win that without no quarterback like that. And if he don't win that award, they don't do what they did. And they had to come. Hold on for a second.
Aaron Donald and the defense and Jalen Ramsey balled. What are we
They balled, but they had to go. They didn't have to go out there and score?
No one's saying that the defense wasn't necessary and didn't
hold up.
the game out. But you have to score points, and I can't just erase the fact that Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, like we're going back in the quarterbacks, like getting to the Super Bowl alone. Forget winning the Super Bowl. Getting to the Super Bowl required those quarterbacks to play like their namesake.
The Eagles defense was great last year, right? They had the 3rd most sacks in NFL history, correct?
Yes.
Who won that game? Was it defense that won that game or offense?
The Chiefs won that because of offense.
Yeah, I mean.
But hold
on. Because I guess you want a bunch of style points. How many points did the defense score last week in Dallas? 0. Dak put up 30. I don't care if it's field goals, touchdowns. He put up 30. He put up 30 points against the Jets. 30. The defense did not score? So what are we talking about? He's 50% on 3rd down. That means he's staying on the football field to even get in the red zone, which means the defense is over there resting. They're scoring 30. The way this defense is playing, if Dak is scoring 30, they are going to be in the Super Bowl. It ain't going to be too many teams that's going to be able to beat them. And yes, the defense scored and blocked the field goal. They had 40. Dak scored 20-plus points.
My question to you is, so if they have the #1 situational field positions in the NFL, How you're going to get points no matter what.
Scoring 30.
So if you get,
so then that
time
means,
out, hold on.
Go ahead,
if you get in turnovers, if the defense is getting you turnovers, or they got them boxed in and they punt all the way to their side of 40 or 50, and 20 yards, you in field goal range. Am I tripping? Or am I saying that that's not happening on the football field?
Is this a team game? Is this a team game?
You're not, because they have had 5 touchdown drives, Shady. They're tied for 12th in the NFL. They've had 5 touchdown drives. I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm just saying in the past 4 or 5 years, we haven't seen it. We've seen defensive players come up big, as they should, because
they get paid money.
They get paid money, and that's what they're supposed to do. But if your name's Tom Brady and you won a Super Bowl, I'm not just going to erase how you got to the Super Bowl, being that your name is Tom Brady. The Cowboys have to get to a NFC Championship game before we're talking about them getting to a Super Bowl, let alone winning a Super Bowl. And if I'm supposed to believe that this is they have the capability of doing it with defense alone.
Not alone, but they have the number 1 offense in the league right now. They're number 1 in points. So not alone. I'm not making this stuff up.
Do you think they're number 1 team?
I don't think they're the number 1 offense.
Okay, thank you.
But I can't. The objective data says they're number 1.
Okay,
come on.
We know what happened in week 1. Like
the people that put the points together, you smarter than them dudes. You just said it.
I don't.
When you watch it,
number 1 offense.
All right, thank you. Do you agree with that?
They scored 30.
But they're not the number 1 offense in football. I just don't think it matters, but they're not.
That don't
They're
matter.
not going to lose games if they score 30.
I'm sorry.
What happens when the Dallas Cowboy defense just has a bad day because that's football?
Here's what I believe.
They scored 30.
Well, here's my thought.
I'm done.
I don't think.
You think I'm making it up?
If the Cowboys defense is generational, not good, not really good, if they're generational, then their bad days will still be good days, because that's what generational
Shady.
I guess it's impossible. They're that good where it don't matter.
If they are.
So it don't matter. What you're saying is basically they won't never have a bad day, and they're going to shut stuff down because they're so generational.
I just want to get this correct. What I'm saying is they're so good that their bad days should still be good days.
Here, I'm going to talk to you, Acho. If Shady got 7 touchdowns from the 1-yard line, them don't count?
I think they can.
Like Jalen Hurts got 8 quarterbacks, and them count as rushing touchdowns. Are they flashy? No. Is 30 points flashy? No, but that's 30.
Okay, so you're saying that. So if you're a defensive player like yourself, when you watch tape and you say they're number 1 offense, right? Then you watch tape, you're going to be like, oh.
They don't play like the number 1 offense.
But I'm saying, come on, man. Come on. America, don't let this common sense, please, force.
They scored 30, man.
It's crazy.
subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.